32 weeks pregnant, so I'm just going to jump ahead a little bit before his actual birth. I was told that I would 100% be having a C-section. I just remember the whole, like, half an hour ride home, I just cried because I was so upset. I really, really wanted to try for a natural birth. And when I eventually do Hayley's birth story, which will be coming up soon, you'll understand why. So anyway, again, at 32 weeks, I was told, no, you will definitely be having a C-section. Unfortunately, you can't have a natural because we found out he was breech. And at late stage, they said there was no way, because of my abdomen being shorter than everybody else's, that there was a chance he was going to turn. So they were just like, we'll just leave him where he is. We're not even going to attempt ourselves to turn him. We'll just leave him where he is, and then we will just have to get you a C-section, and he will be born in that breech position. The reason I cried on the way home was because even though I've had hundreds of operations, this to me was the most scariest, because it wasn't just my life being put under. Like, I had a general. It was also a baby as well, so that was like 10 times the anxiety, and I have anxiety anyway, so that just made it 1,000 times worse. At 34 weeks, I decided that I'd had enough. This sounds really bad, because obviously Hayley being premature, and again, I'll go through that in another video. I really would have liked to have had a baby born not prem at all, at term, but it just was never going to happen with me. So doctors had always said to me that if I had to go a C-section, I would have, the cut off is 37 weeks. So we were getting closer and getting closer, and at 34 weeks, all of a sudden I just was really, really huge at the end of my pregnancy. I had really bad back pain, and like, everyone says, oh, I'm so big, but honestly, of my stature, I was absolutely huge. And I sit down from the time I get up to the time I go to bed. So I can get up at like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning and not go to bed till like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, for instance. So I'm sitting that whole entire time in this wheelchair. And as I said, because my abdomen is like literally from there to like a normal sitting position, that's not enough or a lot of room for a baby to grow anyway. So that was one of the other reasons. Again, they said that they didn't want me to do natural, they wanted me to have a C-section. So putting all that pressure on the front of me, this is like a 2-pound baby by this stage. My back was so sore. I had felt like, I don't know, like I'd been run over by a truck, or honestly, I don't know, but it was so bad that I kind of just went, fine, give me the C-section, I will wave my little white flag, and it's going to happen. So there's nothing I can do about it. So we booked it for 35 weeks, and I just happened to be 35 weeks the first week of August, which again is my grandmother's birthday, the one that's passed, and her birthday is the 4th of August, and I pleaded with my high risk OB to let me have him on the 4th, but unfortunately, for some strange reason, even though we were writing this down as, and I was signing papers as having a general anaesthetic, because I did not want to be awake for this, that it would be an emergency cesarean, because it was done so quickly as well. She just said that no, they don't do C-sections at all on Thursdays, so I would have had to pick another date. So I picked the Tuesday, which meant there was only like 4 or 5 days in between that appointment and actually having the C-section done. So I just decided, instead of me sitting at home wallowing about it, I'll go home and pack my bag, I'll pack his bag, and I'll just keep myself busy over the weekend, and hopefully that means that I just won't think about it, my anxiety won't get too bad, and luckily that was okay because it didn't happen. I literally had like, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday to think about it. I was admitted on the Monday, so to make sure they had 100% had a bed for me. I was admitted at lunchtime on the Monday, and I had him Tuesday at lunchtime. So he was born at 12:30 in the afternoon, so right on lunchtime. I waited in the waiting room area with Steve. Steve was lucky to come down, but because I was having a general, he wasn't allowed in the room, which he was okay with, because he's like, I don't want to see like her being cut up and pulling a baby out, and yeah, he wasn't good with that. So I'm kind of glad I did go with the general, because I don't think he still would have really come with me if I'd had a normal C-section. We'll never know. But we were sitting in the waiting area. Well, I was laying in the bed, obviously. Steve was sitting next to me in the bed, and we were just talking about names, and we came up with Alexander's name, but I said to Steve that I wanted to actually see his face before we 100% sign his birth certificate, tell anybody that this was going to be his name. Little did I know that while I was having my C-section done, which only took about maybe half an hour, maybe a little bit longer, I'm not 100% sure, obviously because I was asleep, Steve had gone back to my room, and my mum and Hayley had turned up, and they turned up a little bit earlier than she was meant to, because I suppose they were excited, and my C-section actually turned out, as I said, a little bit longer than they were hoping, because they had to pull him out feet first. So instead of head first, like a normal baby would be, because they would be head down for a vaginal or a C-section, he was head up. So his head was like in my ribs. So they pulled him out feet first. As I said, they didn't even try and like turn him to make it easier on him. They just got him out as quick as they could, which I believe doesn't take very, very long at all. So, but again, because my anatomy is different on the inside, as well as my small stature, my spina bifida, everything, it does take longer, and no one had done, or the guy, I don't even believe he's even a high risk, and they call him in if there's like a really, really complicated surgery that has to be done. I don't know of anyone really in Tasmania that's had, I don't think there is. I think I'm the only one that's ever had like even a C-section from a spina bifida. Who knows? So after I came to, so after I woke up and was back in my room, I didn't actually get to meet Alexander until he was 7 hours old. This is not because he was really sick or anything. I had the shots done. I don't know what they're called, but I had the shots done to make sure his lungs were okay. So I knew that we were very, very, sure that he wasn't going to need any breathing help. He was probably going to be able to breathe on his own, which he was, so we're very, very lucky. It just took them approximately, I think Steve said, 9 minutes to actually get him through, because if I've had a general, obviously the blood and everything goes to the baby from the mother, so does the general. So not only was I asleep, but so was Alexander. So that was the thing that really, really got to me, and that's why they said, we want to get him out within 10 minutes. Maybe, not even that, maybe 5, give him 5 minutes. So I wasn't put under until the last second before they were ready to cut me open. So they'd done all the prep work, put up the sheets, everything before they put me under, cut me open, got him out, sewed me back up again, got him breathing on his own, thankfully. And then obviously he was taken to special care unit just to make sure that he was okay, because I'd actually suffered a really bad urine infection late in pregnancy, in late 24, 25 weeks. I unfortunately ended up in hospital. Again, I'll go into that later if you want another video. and we almost died, and so that really scared me, knowing that like he was not conscious for 9 minutes. That was like the most scariest thing of put in isolation. So he was in isolation in the special care NICU unit, and I was in my own little isolation room up in maternity. So that was quite fun. So yeah, that was one of the reasons that unfortunately I wasn't able to see him, and obviously they had to check him over and make sure he's okay after even his breathing, which is just normal. They do that with normal babies. Obviously, being born early, it takes a little bit longer to do all these assessments, and also the fact that they took around 9 minutes to get him stable enough to breathe on his own, to wiggle and move and react and things like that. It just took a really, really long time. So I was quite upset that I didn't get to see him, but one of the nurses was lovely enough to sneak him in so that I could have a cuddle. So these photos I've got, I think the very first one actually is my first cuddle I got with him, and that was really special, and I'll never forget that. So yeah. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. As I said, I am planning to do one, a birth story, if I can remember. It feels like it's so long ago, of Hayley on her birthday. Want to hear about my pregnancy with Alexander? Leave a comment below and I can get that video up for you. And again, the same with Hayley. Hayley's pregnancy was completely different. The most unreal thing I have ever experienced in my life, and I'm so glad Alexander's was a little bit different. But yeah, if you would like to hear them again, comment. don't forget to follow my Facebook or my Twitter account. I'll leave the links below, and I will let you guys know when this is up. Alright guys, thanks again for watching.